here with another episode of Conversations and Connections. We're the official podcast of the Family Crisis Center of East Texas. I'm Stuart Burson. I'm the prevention coordinator for the agency. And with me today, I have a couple of ladies from the Alcohol and Drug Abuse Counsel of East Texas. I have Melissa Russell and Kyla Skelton with me today. And, you know, as soon as these words rolled out of my mouth, I want to ask, I'm still used to ADAC, Alcohol and Drug Abuse Council. Is that still? Drug Awareness Council.
Yes.
Okay. And like I said, as soon as those words were coming out of my mouth, I thought, I think they changed.
I was just looking
the
at
A.
you like, I'm not going to correct it. But
No, but that's fine. That's something that we do need to know. But I do appreciate y'all for coming out and being on the podcast today. Melissa, you're no stranger to the podcast. You've been on here a couple of times, I think. But, you know, today we really kind of wanted to focus on a trend that's happening, probably especially amongst young people, not only in East Texas, but probably throughout the country, and that's vaping. I think, you know, when you talk about vaping now, there's so much that's misunderstood, so much that's so many misconceptions about it. And we'll get into this, Melissa, but it's like what we were talking about earlier when we were getting set up. The whole marketing has changed on it from the way it used to be to where it is now. But, you know, what I'd like to do first is when we talk about vaping, and this is going to be just such a very basic question that's not even on our outline here, but what is vaping? When you talk about vaping, what exactly would be a good definition of that?
inhaling harmful chemicals. That's the best
But
definition.
what is the carrier of that? Like, what is that? What are you, when you see someone exhaling the vapor, I guess, what is that? You know what I'm saying?
Like, what are the chemicals?
Well, no, I
that
mean,
are in
what
the
is like,
So you're talking about
what you're inhaling? Yeah. What is it? I know there's chemicals in whatever you're inhaling. There's like a cigarette, you know, there's smoke, but so what? It's obviously not smoke in a vape. What is it?
So it's water vapor. You have nicotine. You have added chemicals such as
Formaldehyde, benzene, cadmium, which is battery. It's found in batteries. Benzene, which is gasoline.
nickel, lead.
It's a ton of different chemicals for different vapes. And a lot of times when these vapes are sent off and tested, they come back inconclusive because they can't decide what's in them.
Well, and that's something I know, man, there's just so many things to talk about regarding this. And we'll get to that, talking about being inconclusive and the whole fact that the majority of vapes are unregulated. And we were talking about, you know, when you buy the vape, when you buy the vapes and the stuff that goes in the vapes, you don't know where that's coming from, what that is really, or anything. But I kind of want to start at the very beginning. Vaping, you know, I remember when vapes first started coming onto the scene, they weren't marketed as vapes. They weren't called vapes. They were e-cigarettes back in the day. And I was even telling Melissa, I remember specific ads on TV. I remember Jenny McCarthy advertising an e-cigarette that it's safe. It's, you know, it's not smoking. You can use this wherever, even where smoking is not allowed because it's not smoke. And I don't know if they were pulling the wool over our eyes then or if things have changed, but now it's definitely not just water vapor that you're inhaling, right? So you know, they were marketed as a safe alternative to tobacco back then.
So I love the analogy. If you think about back in the 50s, 60s, how tobacco and cigarettes were shown on television, with doctors promoting them as a healthy. They even said that menthol cigarettes per doctors was healthy for the mint in them. And then you fast forward to, and then it helps your throat. The menthol soothes your throat. So they were saying that cigarettes were healthy back in the 50s, 60s, and you had doctors actually advertising them and smoking them on TV. Then you fast forward to where they got a little creative in the marketing. They started having the Marlboro Man, they had the Camel, they had the Cools. And that's where vapes kind of came out the same way. So they followed that line of advertising because it was effective. And they started saying that vapes were safe for you. Vapes are great. You can inhale the lavender vape and it calms you down. And then you fast forward to where now we have the research to show that they are containing harmful chemicals, cancer-causing chemicals. And they're not healthy for you at all. So vapes are now where big tobacco was in the 80s.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's just starting to hit to where how harmful they are, to where we're going to start seeing some legislation against vaping. We're going to start seeing the public shift their perception towards vapes as they're not safe to use. They're actually very harmful.
And also, if I may, I'm going to just add. So the vaping began in 2015. Like e-cigarettes really came out in 2015 with Juul. I don't know if you've ever heard of that brand, but Juul. They actually were the ones to start. Now, e-cigarettes, they would have come out in the early 1900s if people would have listened to a scientist back then who wanted to introduce it, but they were too stuck on cigarettes in that time frame. But in 2015, two guys who smoked cigarettes created Juul, and they put a ton of nicotine in it. And they were trying to get adults to buy into it, but no adults would buy into it because any adult that smoked, they were sticking to their cigarettes because it's the norm. They're stuck in their ways, right? So they start marketing and advertising to kids. And so that's how the vaping pandemic started. So it's just gone up from there since 2015.
Yeah,
2018, 20.8% of our youth was using vapes. And that's fast forward to 2024. It's now 1 in 5 of our youth that are using vapes.
Well, I've even heard of some schools now, and I don't know how this works or anything, that they're installing vape detectors like in the bathrooms and things like that, right?
Yeah.
So e-cigarettes, and now of course what I remember this had to be in the 90s. I'm thinking when I first started seeing e-cig, they looked like a regular cigarette, about as thin as a cigarette, probably as long.
And the end would glow whenever
Yeah, things like that. So I know like e-cigarettes evolved into vapes that we're familiar with today. So the data telling us about vaping as far as the health risks, I know lately when I've been in meetings, there's somebody either from ADAC or the coalition, they're saying now vaping is actually more dangerous than traditional tobacco.
It is.
I remember, when vapes and cigarettes, those e-cigarettes first started, it being marketed as being safer. But what is the data telling us now about the dangers of vaping versus your traditional cigarettes?
Well, see, the difference between the traditional cigarettes and the vapes is a vape, you can carry it around with you, you can sleep with it, and you have about 2,500 to 5,000 puffs in one vape. And they get addicted to it. There's an insane amount of nicotine in it. So that's why they're so highly addictive. So you go through smoking this vape all day and then you need another one the next day. I know people who finish their vape in one day. 5,000 puffs. Yeah. That's like 4 packs of cigarettes, if not more, depending on the amount of puffs that you get.
Right.
Because it depends on the vape that you buy. So they're a lot more addictive, which means they're a lot more harmful because you're going to need more each time to suffice for your habit.
Well, and I know I can walk, or let's say drive, in Nacogdoches there on, on North Street, and yet college students walking along the sidewalks there in front of SFA, you'll see these big clouds of vapor coming from all these students now. So I'm not surprised at what you're saying about the amount of young people who are vaping.
Yeah. And not only that, the health statistics show popcorn lung, EVALI. There's a disease called EVALI that you can get strictly from smoking a vape. Like you can get it up to 10 minutes after smoking a vape, I believe is what it says. It could be your first time smoking a vape. What happens is it deteriorates your lung tissue, it basically destroys your lungs, and after that, you're pretty much done for. You can't reverse lung tissue damage.
Yeah, so it inhibits your lungs from actually absorbing the oxygen out of the air that you breathe and then transporting it to your blood.
Yep.
So if your body's unable to enrich your blood with oxygen, then we know the health consequences from that.
And there have been deaths from that. There was actually a death 2 years ago in Dallas, Texas, 15-year-old boy who died from it. It was too late when his parents finally found out that he was vaping.
Well, I know one of the things that I've seen is now you have these vape devices, and you know, it's so obvious that they're marketing these to youth. They look like a USB drive, or they'll look like
a pencil,
or, you know, you guys were telling me now they have these vape devices that will connect to your phone and things like that.
Even a hoodie. They have it. There are hoodies that are vapes. I don't know if Melissa's ever showed you, but there was actually a hoodie in this vape shop in Nacogdoches, and on the strings, you could just, you know how kids will chew on strings?
Yeah.
You put it in your mouth and you vape. It's like a hidden compartment for vapes. It's insane. Yeah. But they're definitely marketing to our youth.
Yep. And then the material of the hood is made thicker to where if you see a kid hiding their face with the hood of the hoodie, they're actually breathing the vape out. And
so it won't billow out, I guess, and be noticeable.
So these products, they're making products to help kids hide the fact that they're vaping from adults, which tells you that they know that you shouldn't be vaping if they're, you know, if they're trying to help them hide it.
Right. Do y'all know what the usage is like here in East Texas, like adults versus teens? Let's say, for instance,
East Texas has the highest rate of vaping and smoking tobacco in Texas, with adults and youth.
What do you think that is? What do you think is so
the normality
special about East Texas? Just
I would say the demographics, like you know, we have a lot of minority communities in our area, in Lufkin, East Texas, period, small towns. Like I said, normalcy, like people have been doing this since the war here, and it's continued. They see, like, for instance, I grew up seeing boys in my school at Central. I went to Central. They would do dip. You know, they would put the tobacco in their mouth, and they seen their parents do it their whole life. And I'm talking about kids who have successful parents. Their parents own a ranch, and they work on the ranch, and they're dipping, and they're spitting it into a water bottle, and they're getting called to the office, and the office is letting them go because it's normal, right?
Right.
So it's become a normalcy in our community, and I think that has a lot to do with it. And then just all the vape shops that have opened up recently and all of that too. So
I was saying, to add to that, one thing the Nat King Coalition is working on for normalizing it, we have our local newspapers that have their best of competitions. We have one in Nacogdoches where they've added the category of best vape shop. So once you see that in a best of competition for your city, it really normalizes that vape shops are here. Hey, it's okay to vape.
Yeah.
So we're working on possibly getting that category removed, so that way it's not helping normalize it to our youth.
You know, I used to always joke about East Texas, how you could dive out of an airplane, land anywhere in East Texas, throw a rock in any direction, you'll hit a church.
You hit a church, yeah.
Well, now it's a vape shop.
It's a vape shop,
I mean, my goodness, how many vape shops can one community support, you know?
One thing, everywhere you go, you see a dollar store. Like, they
Retail
have popped
density.
up on every single corner. Vape shops actually outnumber the dollar stores 3-1 in East Texas. Yep. So that, if you kind of think of how many dollar stores you've seen, and then you think about 3-1, that tells you how many vape shops are starting to pop up.
Mm-hmm.
What is your opinion about this all being a fad or a phase that eventually I'm not saying they'll ever go away, but it'll die down?
With
do you
the
think?
development of the new products of vapes and how they're continuing to evolve into smart vapes, also with how addictive they are, it's going to be a hard road to fight.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And our hope is to, you know, make it to where obviously people feel the same way about cigarettes as they do about vapes.
Right.
But like Melissa said, with them coming out with new products every single day, with new vape companies coming out every single month, every week, like it's almost impossible to keep up with it. And we're just one community, you know, we're trying to help our community. I mean, think about everyone in the world. Like, I know people who sleep with their vapes in their hand and wake up in the middle of the night
And take
a puff or two,
Yeah.
go back to sleep. They're dependent on it. And so it's hard to say that, you know, that we'll be able to put it to a stop. But like I said, our hope is to make people feel the same way they do about tobacco and cigarettes. Because anytime I'm out in public and people smell a cigarette, they're like, oh, that stinks. But when it comes to vapes, they're like, hey, what flavor is that? That smells good. Or, what kind of vape are you smoking? Like, they're interested in it.
Right.
You know, kind of like how people were back in the day about cigarettes. People used to smoke cigarettes in school and
Or chew
in
the
high
cigarette
school.
gum.
Yeah, or chew the cigarette gum. Like, you know, it's just
Yeah. No.
it's a real pandemic we're in right
You know,
now.
one thing that always kind of bugged me is there was, and it's not there now, but there was a vape shop here in the Lufkin Mall, and it's gone now. But towards the end, and at first I thought maybe it's just
remember
for
that.
the holidays.
Yeah.
They literally had toys. When you'd walk in, it was the vape stuff on one end, and then they had like the
Toy cars.
the cars that a kid can ride, that a kid could ride,
Yes.
and everything, and they had those, and I just kind of thought, and then with it being right across from
It was the
the
best
bounce
way to bring the
houses
parents in.
and everything, you know, it's just kind of, I don't know why that just kind of felt weird.
Oh, it
to
was.
me, you know.
I'll never forget, my daughter and I walked in one day. She's like, Mommy, I want that car right there. And I'm like, look, we're not going into that store. You can keep it walking.
Yeah,
That was the whole point of having it in there.
Literally,
of course,
it was.
of course.
I will say that we're starting to get some help, though. So State Bill 3 that's working its way through the legislature now for Texas, they are looking at closing the loophole that has allowed all these vapes to come into our communities. Hopefully it will be passed here soon.
Hopefully it'll make it past Capitol Hill.
No,
Okay.
what do you mean? Like it being illegal to possess a vape, or for vape shops to be
Vape
used?
shops.
Okay.
So what the bill's going to do is they're looking at, there's a loophole in the hemp bill that the agricultural bill, was it 2018 that it was passed?
I think so. Don't quote me on that because I'm not good when it comes to numbers.
So the loophole in that bill is what allowed all these new vape shops to come in, all these new vape products to be shipped
it was
over from China.
2018.
I think it was 2018, yeah. So that's why you started seeing just a boom in vape shops and vape products. The bad part is, I think 90% of the vape products that we see come from China. So that's where the unregulation comes from. That's where we don't know the chemicals in them because there's no safety testing on them. But if we can get this bill passed, they're going to not outlaw, but what's the word I'm looking for? It's going after Delta 9, Delta 8, Delta 10, and any THC.
Oh, it'll restrict them from selling it.
Thank you. Restriction is the word I was looking for. So they're looking at lowering the threshold of vapes that are being sold, and then also increasing the safety of the users.
Because not only that, a lot of local gas stations and stuff, they're buying from retailers in China. So they're not even knowing what they're selling. Even vape shops, you know, they don't know what they're putting out realistically. Yeah. So.
Okay, and I just think I don't know, it's interesting, at least right now, you know, there's heavy government regulations for tobacco and cigarettes, but
we're starting to see that type of regulation come out now.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're like I said, we're in the 80s phase where the big tobacco companies were being legislated and sued. We're in the 80s, just starting the 80s version of the vaping.
Vape, yeah, for sure. Because Jewel is actually literally still going through court right now. Excuse me, because of the amount of nicotine that they were putting in their vapes were getting people addicted. They realized that they were marketing to the youth, so they're going through court right now. But guess what? I'm at the gas station the other day and I see an advertisement on top of the gas pump: buy one Jewel, get two free.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so they're still advertising. They're just doing it in a different way.
Now, I am completely ignorant about this world of vapes. When you talk about a Jewel, how much does that cost? Like, do you know, like if you went to the store and I want a Jewel, how much am I going to throw
Anywhere from $14.99 to $20.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now you'll see other vapes advertised. They can start about, I've seen them as like $4.99. And then we actually had one vape was confiscated at one of our schools, and it was about a $400 vape. So
what makes a vape a $400 vape as compared to a $20 vape?
So the cheaper vapes, they're basically you just puff on them and you're done.
Are they disposable? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they're
okay.
disposable.
Okay.
The higher cost vapes are the ones that you can refill. You can change like how much nicotine you want to intake. You can also they make them now where they come in dual flavors where you can switch back and forth through the flavors. These are the ones that have the digital screens that will connect to your phone. You can play games, kind of.
See, to me, I don't know, and I'm not trying to sound like an old man, but to me that just seems ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know what's even more ridiculous?
I mean, set aside the fact that it's dangerous and
Yeah.
you shouldn't be doing this, but like, to me, that's just like a waste of like.
It's
with phones and everything else, why do you want to play a game on your vape?
It's anything to market it to try to sell it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially
you're exactly
to our
right.
youth. Because especially to our youth, because if they can get the youth hooked young, they're going to be lifelong customers.
Yeah.
For sure.
Right.
And it's about the money. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
Okay.
And I was going to say what's even more crazy is the fact that these vape companies, when they are marketing to the kids, it's not like you don't know. They put it in candy packs, like they'll do candy flavor like Airhead or what's...
I think my favorite that I've seen is unicorn vomit. You say that flavor to adults and everybody's like, what? Ew.
Yeah.
But kids are like, what? Yeah, I want to try that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they come out with the flavors that are directly marketed to kids. I saw one the other day in a convenience store. It was shaped like a Barbie doll, and it was a vape.
I was going to say I've seen like a bazooka. Like I've seen, you remember for Mission Possible when we bought all those, we literally went to a vape shop. Several vape shops here in Lufkin, and we went and bought tons of vapes, different kinds, different sizes. There was one that was like this big, and we went and bought these vapes to show people how the different types of vapes that these kids are smoking, that even adults are smoking or whatever. And the fact that there is a bazooka in there is insane to me. That's crazy.
Wow. So we know how bad it is. We know we need to put a stop to this. What efforts are being made to educate the public, maybe especially our youth, to the dangers of vaping? What can be done, or what is being done?
So ADAC actually has these programs where, like Melissa, she's CCP, and I'm WowTech, working on Wellness Tobacco Education Coalition. And what we do is we go into schools or we go into local community groups and we educate them about the dangers of smoking tobacco and vaping. We provide intervention programs like, Melissa, you want to talk about yours with...
Sure, I'd love to shout out to my drug-free Bearcats. So our first youth coalition with the NatCan coalition is with Cushing ISD. Cushing is an awesome partner for us, and we have 10 eighth graders that are part of our first ever drug-free coalition, and they're called our drug-free Bearcats. So far, they've volunteered to work at the concession stand during a home basketball game, so it kind of gets them out there. We're doing a program this Friday where they're going to help get the high school kids during their lunch to sign a banner pledging to be drug-free for spring break. They read the prevention announcements through the morning announcements that talk about the prevention theme of the month. This month they talked about vaping and vaping awareness. So they're reading it to the entire school, from elementary to high school. Kyla also has one with NAC ISD.
Yes, and so we also have, Wildtech has Nacogdoches High School. We have 10 students who are super involved in the movement, the No Vape movement, and they go by the name Wildtech. They go by our name, Working on Wellness Tobacco Education Coalition. But it's a group of students, 10 students from 9th grade to 12th grade. We meet with them once a month, but they travel with us to our yearly summit. They advocate for youth to be drug-free, to be tobacco and vape-free. We actually recently just did an art competition at their school with them, and we're actually doing another one with Melissa. And we also, we did a pep rally. They did a pep rally for their homecoming game. And we had all 10 of our students for the coalition come out and give out Wildtech bags and hats and all kinds of stuff to people at the game, basically spreading awareness about vaping and tobacco. When I tell you, you wouldn't have thought that it was a Nacogdoches High School game. You would have thought that it was a Wildtech homecoming game and that it was a vape-free homecoming game, because there was nothing but blue all around the stadium. That's kind of our color. But nonetheless,
the fun part about this is, so I'm starting the 8th grade coalitions, and next year there'll be 9th graders, so the program's going to follow them through.
Okay.
yes.
So there'll be drug-free Bearcats till they graduate. If they want to be, I hope they stay.
Yeah.
And then once they hit 9th grade, I'll be able to join with Kyla and her coalition. And so my guys will be able to join in with the pep rallies and travel with them to the Say What summits in Austin. And so it's kind of we're a great team. I'm hitting 8th grade. She's doing high school. So we're combining to really cover all of Nacogdoches County.
Sure.
And try to get the prevention message out to our youth. Another effort that's being made, so Nacogdoches last October, they passed an ordinance amendment to where no new vape shops can come into Nacogdoches. They joined with about 100 other cities in Texas, so it's becoming a movement across the whole state. The existing vape shops that are there are grandfathered in, but if they have to change their permit or apply for a new permit, then the ordinance amendment applies to them, so they won't be able to be in business. Also, it sets buffer zones within 1,000 feet. Churches, parks, schools, anywhere where youth can congregate or be. And then also it sets a buffer zone to where vape shops can't be within so many yards or feet of each other. So a lot of things you're seeing in Nacogdoches now is you'll have 2 vape shops that are literally back to back to each other. Mm-hmm. There's, last count, I believe there was 7 vape shops that surround SFA.
Yeah.
So we're trying to lower that number. The highest concentration of vape shops in Nacogdoches are right there at the college campus. So that tells you who.
Yeah.
I'm working with Garrison, and I'm also talking to Chirino City Council, and I'm hoping to move it out to Cushing City Council. Of being proactive, Garrison actually had 1 vape shop that opened, so it's within 1,000 feet of the school. And talking with school resource officers, they've already seen an increase in vapes being confiscated on school grounds. So if we can preemptively, in the cities that don't have vape shops, get those ordinance amendments, then we're being proactive instead of reactive. But I'm working with Garrison to see if we can put something in place for their city as well.
With vapes really essentially not being regulated, let me ask you this. Is there any laws or rules in place about selling a vape to a minor? I mean, could a 14...
Oh, of course.
Okay.
All vape shops and all convenience stores, anybody who sells vapes or tobacco have to ID.
Okay.
Like that is a state
All right.
law.
Okay. But you'd
you
think
have to be
if there's a
21 or
state law
older.
with that, you'd think there would be
They would
more
enforce
regulate. There would be, well, I'm not even necessarily talking about enforcing it, but you'd think if there's a state law restricting the sale of vape products to minors, then the vapes themselves would be regulated more. You know what I'm saying? It just,
but the
it's just
people
kind
who
of,
are enforcing the laws can't really stay on top of it because of Texas state laws, if we're being honest. I mean, we have people like with ADAC, we have a guy who goes out and he goes into these gas stations and he makes sure that they're in compliance with state laws and regulations, codes and that kind of thing. There are just so many different codes and state laws and legislation that there are so many different ins and outs that people could really wiggle their way out of getting in trouble when it comes to, especially these gas stations, because we've had, like I learned last year at our training, the prevention training that we hold yearly in Austin, that there are several gas stations who don't follow these rules, and it takes a commissioner to go in and get them to be able to stop doing it. But very rarely does that happen because...
And another thing, most of the regulations are left onto the owners of the vape shops to where they have to self-report if there's an issue. The gas stations, they're a little trickier because the laws are written to where 50% of the proceeds have to be towards vapes for them to be known as a vape shop. So if you're a gas station, you could have 2,000 products, but if you're selling more Coke and gas and snacks than you are vapes, then it's hard to regulate that business.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else we want to touch on before we wrap things up?
I think this could be a 3-hour talk.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, great. Well, guys, y'all are doing good work, and you do have a noble cause there, and I just wish you both the best of luck when it comes to this. I know it's going to probably be a rough, long road ahead, but again, I wish you both success in your endeavor here. Melissa Russell and Kyla Skelton, both with ADAC, Alcohol and Drug Awareness Council.
There you go.
All right. And if you have any questions regarding today's show, or if you feel like you need the services of the Family Crisis Center, we do have a toll-free number. That's 1-800-828-7233. Also, you can subscribe to Conversations and Connections via Spotify, Apple Podcasts, pretty much any podcast service of your choice. And if you'd like to make a donation to the Family Crisis Center, go to our website, FamilyCrisisCenterofEastTexas.com. There at the bottom left, you'll see a donate button. Click on that if you'd like to make a monetary donation to help survivors of relationship violence. Remember, be the voice, if not for you, for someone else.